Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, Huber Bongolan, Credible CRE. Welcome.
Hey, Ron. Thank you for having me. Appreciate the time.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Without a Scalpel Day. Wonder what that would be like. I don't know. Does that mean you don't have any surgeries today, or what's the deal? I don't know. We're not gonna celebrate that one. Let's see what else. We've got Religious Freedom Day. Okay. You know, Josh, I'm thankful that you didn't do this one. Josh does our graphics here for us and drives everything. Today's National Nothing Day. I think we could do that with the politicians, especially around California right now, because that's what they're good for. Nothing. So, having beaten anorexia, I am going to go with the one and only National Fig Newton Day. So, do you like Fig Newtons? Are you a Fig Newton person? I am, but then again, like I say, I've beaten anorexia, so I'll go with Fig Newtons. I like put a little milk with them. Now, as you know, Josh is out there in Vegas. They would call that Wayne Newton Day, but that's a whole different story. Is Wayne Newton still perform out there? I mean, I think he's got to. Yeah, does he? Okay, I think he's got to be, I don't know, 100 years old or something like that. I mean, Wayne Newton's been around way longer than me. It was one of the first shows I ever went to see in Las Vegas, and that was a long, long time ago. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's up 30 points. The S&P 500 is up 7. The NASDAQ is down 46. Oil's down $1.29 a barrel. It's fascinating when we watch what's going on in the markets right now, because they're moving pretty quick, and there's a lot of news going through. Some of it's even good, and like always, you get the politicians out there, and they all want to take credit for everything that goes good. And when things are not so good, you don't hear a word. So yesterday, I'm not going to say that it's good news. There was an announcement. The president came out and talked about the fact that there was a ceasefire deal that was reached between Israel and Hamas. Now, obviously, and he comes out as hysterical because, it's Joe Biden, and it's pretty simple to laugh at the guy. Unfortunate. But, he's talking about the fact that this is the same plan that he put on the table March of last year. But it's all him that got it done. Well, Why didn't it get done March of last year, or April, or May, or June, or July? Could it be because 2 weeks ago, President-elect Trump said there's going to be all hell to pay if the hostages aren't released? And that's my problem with this whole agreement. See, they're talking about 33 hostages being released in exchange for 110 terrorists. And it's not all of the hostages. Why in the first round? Why is there a ceasefire without all the hostages being released? Why? Why has the president of the United States done nothing when there are American hostages? Now, those of you that are old enough, and I know some of you are not, but I was old enough to remember the Carter administration. And we had hostages, not nearly held as long as this group, but every night on the evening news and all the stations, well, when there wasn't forest fires back then, but every night on the news, there was a banner running along the bottom, just like we have on our programs. And it said how many days the hostages were in captivity. Now, has anybody seen that now? No, we're getting close to 500 days of captivity. And, I just hope that President Trump gets this done, because I saw this morning that there is now a holdup on the ceasefire and the agreement, because you're not going to believe this one, because it's going to really surprise anybody that follows these things.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Hamas wants to change the terms of the agreement. Does that surprise anybody? They decided they want more people being released, whatever their deal is. It's always a problem with Hamas. And all they are is a bunch of terrorists. And again, my idea, my commentary was pretty simple. What did we do in World War II? When we had Japan, they weren't allowed to have a military. The United States came in, protected them from others because they were not allowed a military. Well, if you want to have a two-state solution, I don't know if that's right or wrong. That's for them to decide. But in the Gaza Strip there, no military. There's plenty out there of groups that can protect the area for the people. And one of the big items that what did they want in the ceasefire was they wanted the people of the Palestinian area, the Gaza Strip area, to be able to go into Israel for medical treatment. Now, obviously, we know that Hamas doesn't care about treating people. All they care about is themselves. That's why they've stolen all of the humanitarian aid. But I digress. We're looking at the only thing that I'm seeing on the markets right now that's good is oil down at $1.64 a barrel. Now, that's good for most of the country. It's not going to affect California. We like high gas prices, although maybe. And I know we like high gas prices. I get all these people that say to me, Ron, you don't like high gas prices. We don't like them in California. We're just because we're the second highest priced gasoline in the country. The only place that you can go and get gasoline more expensive than California is the oil producing state of Hawaii, right? That's the only place you can go get gasoline higher. But how do I know that we like gas prices that high? Who did we just elect as our senator? Chicken Schiff, right? We reelected Gavin Newsom. We're paying 28% taxes and fees on our gasoline. If you take our $4.41 a gallon right now and take off 28%, can we call it 30 so I can do easy math? That's about what, $1.20 a gallon? It's $1. See, it's not even easy math for them. About $1.50 a gallon. Okay, take that off of the 440. We're going to be right around the same price as the national average of $3.10. It's unbelievable what we're doing here, but we keep voting for the same people. Gavin Newsom. Well, Karen Bass, she went from being a representative to now she's the mayor of Los Angeles, I think. Could be Ghana, but I think they still call her the mayor of LA. I don't think she's going to survive this catastrophe that's gone on now. I just read this morning, 1 out of every 6 fire rigs in Los Angeles was not operational because of the budget cuts. Now, talk about that one. Holy cow. And they're saying, well, it's caused by the electric company. Well, we got a lot of great firefighters out there not to have their rigs working and not to have water in a reservoir for 4 years now? Unbelievable. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk with a commercial real estate expert. Wonder how that's going to all go down now with everything that's going on in Los Angeles. Home buying step that you do not want to skip. We'll talk about it. And protecting your credit when an environmental disaster strikes. Bleh. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
As the economy slows, do you know anyone worried about job loss? At Siegel Lending Team, we offer the Home Select Loan. Think of it as a financial superhero cape for homeowners with good income and credit. It not only saves your home, but also throws a life ring to your credit score. Because who needs stress when you can have peace of mind? Let's secure your future with a smile. Visit rsrhomeselect.com. rsrhomeselect.com. NMLS 217037.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you need to put in your mortgage calculator to find out what your principal and interest payment will be. Don't have a mortgage calculator? rsrlinks.com/mortgage app. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. You can get the free mobile app that we have available for you with the mortgage calculator in it. Let's see what rates locked at yesterday. The latest data that we have. Although, Josh, this looks like the day before yesterday's slide. So I'm just going to tell you what the rates are. Give me a second. I'm going to pull it up because I do have it right here on my screen. Let's see. We've got the 30-year conforming 6.969. That one was down. Every one of them should be showing as down just because the markets were pretty strong yesterday. So we've got a 30-year conforming 6.969. That was down. Jumbo 30-year fixed 6.915. That was down. 30-year FHA 6.598. That was down. And we've got the best loan on the market. That would be the veterans loan, the 30-year VA loan, 6.519. That was down. And the 30-year USDA loan, generally that's for our rural areas with no down payment. That one was down yesterday as well, 6.606. So if you want our commentary on the market, each and every morning, business morning, we do this as early as the data allows, rsrlinks.com/market update, rsrlinks.com/market update. Let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets today. Now, yesterday we saw a big drop in the 10-year treasury. So what would you expect today? Well, sometimes it's going to recover a little bit. It's going to rebound, but it's not. we're seeing the 10-year treasury is down even more, 4 basis points. The mortgage-backed security, this is the bond, that is up 20 basis points after yesterday being down a lot. When that bond goes up, rates go down. We like to see the rates going down, especially with as high as they've been lately. So it's nice seeing that. And I've got my friend here. I think he's going to tell us something. Well, maybe not. Sometimes my sounds don't come across quite the way I thought they would. Okay, in any event, let's see what's driving this market today. Well, we got a Philly Fed Manufacturing Index survey for the month of January is reported at 44.3, much higher than last month's negative 11, and also far higher than the estimates of negative 5. Highest reading since April of 2021, and maybe explained by manufacturing pulling orders forward and stockpiling inventory ahead of potential tariffs. The Beige Book yesterday, and this is a economic health indicator that the Federal Reserve uses from the 12 Fed districts. And it can be important because the Fed has indicated they are not just looking at the BLS jobs data or other published reports, as they can be somewhat unreliable and have been susceptible to huge revisions. Instead, they check that data against what their business contacts are saying. They're not usually market moving. The Beige Book provides an important check on the strength we have been seeing in recent economic data releases. Economic activity increased slightly to moderately. Consumer spending exceeded expectations for the holiday season. Manufacturing is stockpiling inventory in anticipation of tariffs. On labor, 6 districts reported no change in job creations, while the other 6 reported minor gains, not indicative of what the BLS report showed. Wage growth was described as moderate. Retail sales rose 0.4% in December, weaker than the estimates of 0.6%, and jobless claims came in higher than what they had been running. That's the Mortgage Minute for you, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that for the next home loan, Geneva's got all the programs, but they've got some that now no one else has either, and we'll talk about that. Actually, there's 3 companies in the entire country that have one of the programs that Geneva uses, and it's the best loan on the market because even Monday, I was sharing with somebody that their effective interest rate was going to be 2.001 on a 30-year loan. 2.001. It's not fixed. Could get better than that. But let's talk to our guest of the day. We're speaking today, Huber Bongolan.
That's
Credible
right.
CRE. Did I say it right?
You got it. Huber Bongolan. You got it.
Bongolan. Okay. I have trouble with Siegel, no less.
The Filipino last name. There's some weirder ones too, but yeah.
I've been practicing mine for 60 years. So, with yours, it's only a couple of months. So you're in the, something I should see, because I think I've got something here that I usually remember because I am a big fan. And I think I might have it here. Maybe I don't have it, but every once in a while, I remember to get this onto the board. Josh, don't we have Huber's theme song here? Maybe I don't have the theme song for it. I thought I did, but we'll get that in here for you next time. I usually play the UFC fight song.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Because I am a fan. Now, before we get talking about, legitimate stuff. So Monday night, are you going to be rooting for Notre Dame or Ohio State?
Oh my goodness. I will be just a casual fan watching. I don't care for either of them. If USC's not in it, forget them.
I've got a problem with this one. And the problem that I have is that I root every weekend during football season for 3 teams. And I bet you could probably guess this because I'm not a USC alumni. I am just a fan. I did apply there. I was accepted to go there. My accountant talked me out of it. But so I root for USC without a question. Anybody that's playing UCLA, I'm a fan that week. And anybody that's playing Notre Dame. So even though I'm not going to say I'm a fan of Ohio State, and now that we're in the same conference, it's even less. But there's no way I could ever root for Notre Dame.
It's impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So,
It won't
I'm
feel
just,
right.
going to go out there and throw
Yeah.
that out there. Oh, wait a second. I think I
yeah.
I thought we had it here, Josh. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole song.
The whole thing. I might start jumping up and down.
There we go. Okay, so let's talk commercial. You're in the commercial real estate world. I play a little bit in, we do residential, we do home residential loans, but it's a completely different world when you're talking commercial real estate, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So for most people, when you think residential, like 1 to 4 units, really that breakdown is at that 5-unit mark. So 5 units and above, you're kind of entering the commercial real estate territory when it comes to residential side. But then, of course, you have your other products: office, hotels, industrial, retail, shopping centers. Those are all kind of under the commercial real estate bucket.
So let's start off maybe just talking a little office, because that's where I've been. Is there a market for office space right now, or is everyone just staying home?
So the last couple of years obviously has been very tough. You're starting to see big companies requiring the return to office and having them come back. So you're thinking that there is a thought that we're kind of reaching that bottom, and finding a place to enter now would be really good for people that are true office developers, office owners that really know the asset type. 2025 could be that year where you're seeing that bottom and it's up from here, right? So office isn't going anywhere. It's just not been the darling. It's actually been like the tough asset type over the last 4 or 5 years. Definitely on the financing side, a lot of lenders want to stay away from it. When they hear the word office, it's tough for them. Suburban office, it has to really be a good sponsor, really good tenant, people that know what they're doing and strong cash flows for it to make sense. But you're starting to see or predicting that bottoming this year of office valuations.
So let me ask you this, because, again, I study the markets a lot, and, the interest rate market is the same for everybody. The products are different, the collateral's different, but aren't commercial loans usually a shorter duration than our traditional home loan?
No, there's there's a lot of different products on the commercial side, depending on what your business plan is. So while in the home space, right, you have a 30-year, 15-year, different product types in that space when it comes to duration of the term. With commercial products, you also do have that, but it really depends on the business plan. So there's kind of 3 main types of products, I would say, when it comes to what's your business plan. You can do a construction, like round of development. You could be doing a bridge loan where it's more transactional, or it could be like a perm loan where that's longer term. Like, hey, I have an office. Let's stick on the topic of office. Let's say I have an office property. It's fully tenanted, fully occupied, great tenants in the space. Then I'd probably be looking for something more long-term, like a 5-year loan or a 10-year loan that's amortized over 30 years, but the term is typically somewhere between the 5 to 10-year space. So for viewers, what that means is your payment is based on a 30-year amortization, but at that 4-year mark, if you have a 5-year term, or around that 9-year mark, if you have a 10-year term, you have to figure out a solution for refinancing or selling that property.
So when we come back, I want to chat with you a little bit about that part of it, because you look back and you say, okay, in the last 3 years, the interest rates have probably doubled.
Yep.
And what's that going to mean for the availability and for the valuations? But I want to talk to you about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. One home buying step you don't want to skip. We'll talk about it. And protecting your credit when an environmental disaster strikes. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score: what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. One home buying step you don't want to skip, pre-approval. There's one essential step in the home buying process you may not know a whole lot about, and that's pre-approval. Here's a rundown of what it is and why it's so important right now. What is a pre-approval? It's like getting a green light from a lender. It lets you know how much they're willing to let you borrow for a home. To determine that number, a lender looks at your financial history according to Realtor.com. These are some of the documents a lender may ask you during the process. W-2s from the last 2 years, tax returns from the last 2 years, pay stubs last 30 days, bank statements last 60 days, investment account statements, maybe 2 years of history of where you've lived. The result? You'll get a pre-approval letter showing what you can borrow. Keep in mind that any changes in your finances can affect your pre-approval status. So after you receive your letter, avoid switching jobs, applying for new credit cards, or other loans, or taking out large sums of money from your savings. Now, there are technology ways that you may not even need to provide all those documents, but our team at Geneva, they're actually going to go and underwrite the loan for you right while you're out shopping, even after you've got that pre-approval. How it helps you determine your borrowing power this year: home prices are expected to rise in most places, and mortgage rates are still showing some volatility. So since affordability is still tight, it's a good idea to talk to a lender about your home loan options and how today's changing mortgage rates will impact your future monthly payment. The pre-approval process is the perfect time for that because it determines the maximum amount you can borrow. Pre-approval also helps you figure out your budget, how you should use this information to tailor your home search to what you're actually comfortable with as far as a monthly mortgage payment. That way you don't fall in love with a house that's out of your comfort zone. How it helps you stand out once you find a home you want to put an offer on. The pre-approval, the pre-underwrite has another big perk. And that only makes your offer stronger. It shows sellers you've already undergone a credit and financial check. Actually, the pre-underwrite lets you make a same as cash offer. When a seller sees you as a serious buyer, they may be more attracted to your offer because it seems like likely to go through. As Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate, says, quote, pre-approval carries more weight because it means lenders have actually done more than a cursory review of your credit and your finances, but have instead reviewed your pay stubs, tax returns, and bank statements. A pre-approval means you've cleared the hurdles necessary to be approved for a mortgage up to a certain dollar amount, unquote. How about even being able to close your loan in 8 days? Put that one on your pre-approval, that on your offer, that you can do an 8-day escrow. Now, what's going to end up happening is the sellers are going to say, we're not ready that fast, but it's still going to make your offer stand out. If you're planning on buying a home, getting pre-underwritten for a mortgage should be one of the first things on your to-do list. Not only will it give you a better understanding of your borrowing power, it can put you in the best possible position possible to make a strong offer when you find a home that you love. Give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's chat about getting you pre-approved and then pre-underwritten. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, Huber Bongolan is with us. Credible CRE. We're learning together. It's Huber's teaching us, and they're talking about commercial real estate. And if you missed the last segment, shame on you. But we're talking about, I'm in the economics world, Huber. I just did a conversation with about 150 real estate professionals yesterday, talking about forecasting. And I wasn't talking about the commercial world as much But my understanding just from economics is and history, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, interest rates were better than they are today. And you were sharing with us in the last segment that commercial loans, they're amortized over a longer term, but a lot of them have a 5-year term on them, meaning that somebody has to restructure that, refinance that, in enough time, which means, probably up to 4 years. Aren't they going to be looking now at like almost double the interest of where they were at before?
It's a big problem right now. That's been a problem for the past probably 12 months once interest rates started to hike. So solutions that you've heard of, you've heard of or not, but extending and pretending, that's one solution. And that's where sponsors, knowing that, hey, my rates have been good and I'm coming up to my term, they'll ask lenders ahead of time, is there a way I can extend at my current interest rate? So they'll ask for additional 6 months or 12 months in hopes that rates will go down to a level where it makes sense for them to refinance into another long-term mortgage. However, if they can't do that and their lender is not willing to play ball with them, or even now they've already burned through an extension of 6 months or 12 months and rates, like we talked about in the last 3 months, have only gotten worse for longer-term loans, then a strategy that we are seeing is in the private credit market where they're saying, you know what, there is some type of deferred maintenance. There's something that I can do to add value to this property. Instead of going for another 5-year or 10-year term loan, I'll do a transitional bridge loan for 12 months or 18 months and do that deferred maintenance item that I've been putting off for the years. And I'll do that now. So that way I can wait and hold out the market in hopes that interest rates lower.
So basically then what you're taking out another loan, you're putting more money into the property on a very, very short-term gamble.
That
right?
is a strategy. Yes.
Wow. And
that last strategy that I'll say is really looking for a perm lender that has no prepay penalty. So that way, in the event that rates do go lower, you can refinance without prepay. So I know in the residential market, there's typically no prepay on any loans. But in the commercial side, on perm loans, you usually, if you're going to a bank or a credit union, you'll have some type of step down prepay where in the first year, if you refinance in the first year, maybe there's a 3% prepay. In the second year, 2%. There's some type of a prepayment penalty. So if clients are willing to accept, hey, okay, rates are what they are, and I'm going to take the higher interest rate now, then at least what I can do is if rates go lower in the next 5 years, try to structure a no prepay loan so that way I can get out of it and refinance as rates drop.
So are the lenders really doing the extensions? I mean, what catalyst is there for them to do the extension?
Yeah.
Knowing that, right now, they're not going to be able to go out and sell that in the marketplace for that same interest rate. I mean, if they had and I don't know, again, say they had a 5% interest rate
right.
4 years ago, and now say it's 9%, and I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just throwing numbers out.
Yeah.
Why would a lender want to do it, give an extension at 5 when the market's 9?
Exactly. So the reason for that is, number one, maintain the relationship with the client. Let's say it's a very good client of theirs and they need extra time and the bank has other assets of theirs in their portfolio. They might be more willing and say, you know what, we'll extend and, like what you had just talked about, take a theoretical loss onto this transaction because we really value this person's relationship and we want to keep them as a client here. That's one reason. The other reason, if that's not that big of an issue for the lender, that they're not really caring about the relationship, is, well, what are our options? If we foreclose on this person, we're going to have to sell this property. We're not in the business of managing properties. We're a lender. We're here to recycle capital and take our transaction fees. If we foreclose on this person, that's just going to be a world of headache, litigation. Let's try to figure something out. So the kind of middle ground is, all right, we'll give you an extra 6 months, 12 months. We'll extend this for you. In exchange, we're going to charge you an extension fee. And that's been kind of the strategy for the last 12 months as we've kind of did this dance of where are rates going. The Fed's saying they're going to lower it. And in the last 3 months, it's actually been going higher. Where is it going here? So that's been the extend kind of strategy here. And the thought process behind lenders is, well, what's our best alternative? We don't want to foreclose. We don't have to do that.
And that also goes back to something that we talk about on Ron Siegel Radio all the time, is that the Fed is making their decision based on what they want to do with the Fed funds rate.
That's right.
But that's not driving where the market is. And obviously the market the last 3.5 months has been doing the exact opposite
That's right.
of what the Federal Reserve has been doing.
That's exactly right. I mean, with the Fed funds rate, it's short-term rates, right? So
Right.
they will have a more dramatic effect on these bridge transitional 12-month, 18-month loans that we're talking about. But what you had aptly pointed out is the long-term rates, the 10-year treasuries, that has moved in the opposite direction, mainly due to uncertainties in the market. That's a whole nother discussion, changing of who's our president, right? What's going to happen with inflation? Where is unemployment going? That's a whole nother topic, but that's the reason why you're seeing the long-term rates actually go up versus short-term rates going down. It's a very interesting market.
Now let's talk about one other thing, because I know we only got about a minute left in this segment.
Sure.
Is the other part of that means that maybe the owner of that property is being, might say, okay, well, I don't have any choice. I can't restructure. My only other option is to sell. Are you seeing more inventory coming on the market, and is that pressuring prices?
Not yet, but that is the expectation for 2025. If you look at all like the MBA mortgage reports, more transaction activity this year, because the extend that strategy we talked about was 2024 strategy. Well, now it's 2025. What are people going to do? So they might be, we're expecting an increase in transactional activity this year because that extend strategy has gone through and lenders aren't going to do it twice.
Will that push prices down or up, or will it have any effect, do you think?
Theoretically, it would push prices down. In a high interest rate environment, that means cap rates will probably go up with people needing to make a move in one way or another. Theoretically, it should push prices down.
So if that's the business owner's retirement strategy, they might have a little bit of a challenge coming up this coming year.
The hope is that they're not in a position where they have to sell, right? That's in the case that the lender's not giving you an extension and you have a term due. If you can hold out and wait, of course, this is a market, right? And we're susceptible to cycles. So if that's the cycle now where interest rates we're in a high interest rate environment, a lot of people potentially are more selling or have a reason to sell this year. If you can wait through it, that's typically been the better strategy, is holding on to real estate for the long term.
And then the flip side is that person that has cash, call Huber, because cash is king and it might be great for you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio.
That's right.
Discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, protecting your credit when an environmental disaster strikes. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
As the economy slows, do you know anyone worried about job loss? At Siegel Lending Team, we offer the Home Select Loan. Think of it as a financial superhero cape for homeowners with good income and credit. It not only saves your home, but also throws a life ring to your credit score. Because who needs stress when you can have peace of mind? Let's secure your future with a smile. Visit rsrhomeselect.com. rsrhomeselect.com. NMLS 217037.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com. Best loan on the market if you qualify. It's an offset loan, and there's only 2 or 3 companies in the country that are offering it. And yes, I did say it. On Monday, I did consult with a client. Their effective APR was 2.001 on an $850,000 loan, and they're going to have it paid off 7.7 years if they follow the strategy. And it's not even not even making massive payments. And they've got a lot of liquidity. Got to check it out. Protecting your credit when an environmental disaster strikes. If you have been impacted by the Southern California fires, your primary focus is on the safety and well-being of yourself and your family. As your basic needs start to be met, your thoughts will likely turn towards getting your life back to normal. The many concerns you may be weighing include, how do I get access to money? What will happen if I miss payments on my credit cards and loans? How might the financial decisions I make now affect my credit rating and access to credit in the future? These are important items to consider as your credit score influences the credit that's available to you, as well as the terms such as interest rates and amount of credit extended that lenders offer you. The fact that you reside in an area impacted by an environmental disaster or government action does not directly impact the FICO score. However, you may want to contact your bank and other creditors as soon as possible to make them aware of your situation. Your lenders may have procedures in place to work with customers impacted by the natural disaster. For example, your lenders may work with you to increase your available credit or to set up a deferred payment plan or temporarily place the loan in forbearance. The placement and reporting of an account in forbearance or a deferred payment plan in and of itself does not negatively impact a FICO score. This holds true with all versions of the FICO scores. Note, actions such as missing payments, charging credit cards up to and over their limit, or opening several new credit accounts over a short period of time can have an impact on the score. So, if you've been impacted by a natural disaster and are worried about keeping up with your bill payments as you sort things out, you should consider what you can do to better position yourself to help against potential impacts to your FICO scores. Here are some tangible actions to consider both before and after environmental disaster strikes. 5 ways to prepare for the natural disaster. 1, be in the know about your current credit status. Number 2, assess where you are financially. Number 3, consider automatic payments for your priorities. Number 4, do you have overdraft protection? Number 5, investigate your credit card over limit rules or protection programs. And 5 ways to recover from a natural disaster. Number 1, before payments are due, start making calls to alert your creditors. Number 2, ask your creditors about your options. Number 3, time to reprioritize your expenses. Number 4, request a copy of your credit report as soon as feasible. Number 5, consider a credit monitoring or identity theft protection service. Get the full details and give me a call if you want more information on this. Again, the number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. That's the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. Continuing our conversation this morning, Huber Bongolan, Credible CRE is our guest today, and we're talking about commercial real estate finance and getting an education on, I talked about this, Huber, probably a year ago, that it wouldn't surprise me to see a major opportunity for people to get into commercial real estate if they've got the cash, just because of so many people that are going to have to restructure their deals, and it might not be possible. Do you think it is? Is this an opportune time, or would somebody with cash on the sideline, is it better for them to wait?
No, I would say that. So what we've been talking about is mostly macro kind of forces here, right? Commercial real estate and real estate in general is very micro, locational, where things. So there is always an opportunity somewhere. There is a deal to be had. And I would say in general, if you had the cash and you're looking this year and next year would be great time to try to find your spot in the market and try to find that deal, because a lot of sellers, while they were waiting out 2023 and 2024, hoping that rates would come down and prices would go up, they kind of have to make that move now. A lot of people are having to make that move. So yes, I agree with you that if you have that cash, this year could be a very opportune time to try to find that deal that fits your investment parameters.
So that's the Warren Buffett strategy. Buy when there's blood in the streets.
Well, if you're following him, I'm sure many of your followers are, many of your viewers are. He has a lot of cash right now, record levels of cash right now. So if you're trying to read the tea leaves, he might be seeing something too on the horizon.
And he's a pretty good one to read the tea leaves with, although, when you're 90 some years old,
yeah,
at some point in time, Father Time catches up. Tell me a little bit about Credible CRE. What is Credible CRE, and how does it help companies or customers, or What do you do?
Absolutely. So Credible CRE is an educational and thought leadership platform in the commercial real estate finance space. What I found in my career is that the data is so, and the information is so opaque or behind closed doors, it's hard to find, or it's spread out in so many different areas. It's like, where do I even go for the right information? That is where Credible CRE comes in. I've been fortunate in my career to be able to see a lot of information coming my way, and people sending me things and telling me things about the market, and had some great mentors and leaders in my life to help shape the way that I think. So Credible CRE is my way of kind of giving back to our commercial real estate community, where it's synthesizing all of this information and putting it into something understandable. Break it down, make it easy to where even the layman can understand what's going on in commercial real estate finance to stay on top of what's going on. So that is the purpose of Credible CRE.
And so how does somebody reach you, or how does somebody get some of this information?
Absolutely. So my website, crediblecre.com, crediblecre.com. On there, you'll see all of the offerings that we have. If you want more information or want to book a time to talk about what's going on in the market, it also has at the top of the website a place where you can enter your email address and first name to get access to our newsletter, where we synthesize this information and send it out every Monday and Thursday morning.
Is it something that is, and I get it, I subscribed. Full disclosure, I haven't read a lot of them, just because I get a lot of stuff and I haven't.
Sure, no problem.
But is it written for the rocket scientist, or is it written for a simple guy like me?
Written for the layman, right? One of my passions is teaching and giving back, especially to college students or early people on in their career. So this is written for anyone that just has an interest in commercial real estate finance, the markets, what's going on. Easy to just kind of snackable information and get what you need to know, and then get on with your day in a 3 to 5 minute read.
Wow, it's that quick. Okay, I didn't.
Oh yeah, bite size. Our attention span. I mean, everyone. I think it's the TikTok generation. It's getting lower and lower. So I try to keep the information very bite sized, and then it's in the event that someone wants to learn more, there's information that leads them to more discussion on it on the topics.
Okay, Huber, you might have to start. What's the new one? Red Wagon or something like that? That if TikTok goes away on Sunday, I think it's called Red Wagon or something along those lines. Red Note. Okay, thanks, Josh. Red Note.
Yeah, I'll need to look into that. Okay, I'll need some education on Red Note.
Apparently, it's TikTok, but it's the same as TikTok or similar. And it's also another Chinese company. It goes right back to apparently right to the Chinese government. So.
Well, that's an all another conversation too on what's happening in that space. But
yeah, we don't have time because Josh already told me I'm talking too much. And thanks for coming on, Huber. If somebody wants to get information about Huber and Credible CRE, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We put your link there on the screen, crediblecre.com, crediblecre.com. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean, who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Push me over the limit. I'd like to call him something